Marla Maples, a name that most people associate with being the ex-wife of former President Donald Trump, has remained somewhat of a mystery to the public over the years. While she has managed to keep a relatively low profile, Marla has recently been thrust into the spotlight again after an encounter with a liberal reporter that left everyone in shock. This wasn't your typical interview. This was something completely unexpected. The reporter mocked Marla Maples, but her response? It was pure gold. It all started on a sunny afternoon when Marla Maples was invited for an interview with a well-known liberal reporter. The reporter, whose name we'll keep anonymous for now, had a history of criticizing Marla's past and her connection to Donald Trump. This wasn't going to be just any conversation. The reporter had an agenda, but what they didn't expect was Marla's ability to handle the situation with grace, wit, and a response that completely shut them down. The interview began like any other. The reporter asked about Marla's life post-divorce, her relationship with Donald Trump, and how she had moved on from the public scrutiny that came with being married to such a controversial figure. At first, Marla remained calm, answering the questions diplomatically, staying composed and professional, just as she always has. But then, the reporter took a different turn. With a smirk on their face, the reporter began mocking Marla's past, questioning her intelligence, her choices, and even her motivations behind staying in the public eye. The reporter asked her, "Isn't it time you faded into obscurity? You're only famous because of your connection to Trump. What's left for you now?" The audience could feel the tension rising, and Marla, who had been poised until now, suddenly turned the tables. In a moment that stunned everyone, Marla paused, looked the reporter directly in the eyes, and said, "I've lived my life on my own terms. I didn't rely on anyone to define me, not even Donald Trump. My life isn't a story about being someone's ex-wife. It's about finding my voice, my purpose, and moving forward despite what others think of me." The reporter, clearly taken aback by the strength in Marla's response, tried to press her further, but Marla wasn't finished. She continued, "You know, I think it's quite amusing how people like you always try to define other people by their past, by who they were associated with. But here's the thing, you have no idea what my life is truly about. You have no idea the strength it takes to live in a world where everyone expects you to be a certain way. My story is mine, and I'm writing it." That's when the reporter's expression shifted. There was a moment of silence, a pause in the interview. The reporter tried to recover by shifting the conversation to another topic, but it was clear the damage had been done. Marla had flipped the script. Instead of being the target of mockery, she became the one in control. Her response was sharp, insightful, and in that moment, utterly brilliant. It was a response that showed just how much Marla Maples had grown, evolved, and learned from her past. The incident went viral almost immediately. Clips of Marla's epic comeback spread like wildfire across social media. People were amazed by her confidence and her ability to handle an aggressive interview with such grace and intelligence. What had started as a moment of mockery had turned into a moment of empowerment. Marla Maples was no longer just known as Donald Trump's ex-wife. She was known for her strength, her wisdom, and her ability to stand her ground in the face of adversity. What made this moment even more shocking was the reporter's reaction, or lack thereof. For someone who had come into the interview with an agenda, the reporter had no choice but to step back and acknowledge the power of Marla's words. In a world where celebrities and public figures are often torn apart by criticism, Marla Maples had proven that sometimes the best response is simply standing tall and owning your story. In the days that followed, many came to Marla's defense, praising her for her response. It was a reminder that people shouldn't be defined by their past mistakes or the opinions of others. Marla Maples had proven that no matter who you were associated with or what your past was like, you could always take control of your narrative and rewrite it. As for the reporter, the mockery they tried to bring didn't have the effect they expected. Instead of diminishing Marla, they had inadvertently brought her into the spotlight in the best possible way. The tables had turned, and Marla had become the hero of the story. But Marla didn't stop there. She continued to speak out, using her platform to talk about self-empowerment, finding one's voice, and breaking free from the labels others place on you. Her words resonated with many who felt trapped by their pasts or weighed down by the expectations of others. Marla's message was clear. Don't let anyone dictate your worth. You are more than your past, and you have the power to define your own future. The incident with the Liberal reporter was a turning point for Marla Maples. It was a moment that not only showcased her incredible strength, but also sent a powerful message to anyone who had ever been judged or misunderstood. Marla had shown the world that she was more than just a figure from the past. She was a woman who had found her voice, and she wasn't afraid to use it. The shocking response from Marla Maples will be remembered for years to come. It wasn't just a moment of standing up for herself. It was a reminder to everyone that we all have the ability to take control of our lives and shape our own destinies. In a world that often tries to put people in boxes, Marla Maples proved that the key to success isn't about fitting in, it's about standing out and being unapologetically yourself. As the world continued to talk about Marla's brilliant response, one thing became clear. The mockery from the reporter had only made Marla stronger, and in the end, it was her pure gold comeback that left the lasting impression.